please bully me in the comments to read this book, because I might give in and do it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylee and I like to read books and collect cute things. And it has been a little minute since I posted a video. I actually went ham in January, February, and a little bit in March. And then I got into a really weird reading slump around like April, May-ish even. And I just was like so unmotivated to record or even post on my social medias at all about what I was reading, because I just like kind of didn't care about the books that I read. I did read some things that I liked, but nothing that I was like excited about. And I feel like I kind of also forgot a lot of things. So I don't know if it was a product of like just reading a really like so many great books in the span of a couple months and then just being slumpy, or because the weather got better. I don't know, but either way, I am back, baby. We are so back. Now I'm on the opposite end. I want to read all the things. I have been in a fantasy mood. Oh my gosh, I've just been reading a lot of different kinds of books and it's been really, really awesome. Summer is here. My birthday was last month, so I got a lot of books and kind of went a little crazy. So I decided, what the heck, I'm just gonna do a book haul. I'm gonna start with showing you guys some of the things that I bought recently. I also have my book of the month books, and to open with you guys from last month. I may skip this month, I'm not really sure, so I'm gonna wait until I see some more reviews come in for some of those picks before I get those. But let's go ahead and get started into the haul. Okay, so first two books that I bought but already read. First is Fly Away by Chris and Hannah. This is the sequel to Firefly Lane. I read that in May, and the next video I do, by the way, it will be a May, not hopefuls, like a May standout and then my June wrap up. So just letting you know. But this is the sequel. Did I think this book needed to exist? Maybe not really. I don't know. I have a little bit of like mixed feelings on it, and I'll get into that in the June wrap up. But this one, I can't really talk about too much of what this book in particular is about because it is a sequel and it does start kind of like after the Firefly Lane in book ends. And I was unfortunately spoiled because I looked at the back of this before I finished Firefly Lane. Anyway, so if you do want to read Firefly Lane, do not look up anything about this book because you will be spoiled. Anyways, but Firefly Lane is about two friends, Tully and Kate, and it follows them from when they're like 13, 14 years old. They're very different. You know, it shows them growing up in their like adolescent years, you know, girlhood. They're both struggling with different things, and it follows them until their like 40s and 50s. So you get to see their family dynamics, relationships, their friendships, and you know, it's they're very complex characters. I would say if you are a Chris and Hannah fan, if you read Homefront and liked that book, I would recommend these. But I really wanted to finish both of them because I've been wanting to find like a new kind of comfort sort of show, but tug at your heartstrings. So I needed to finish this book first. So that's a little bit about the background of this book, but I still thought it was a good book. I just, the characters were hard to root for. They're supposed to be like that, but I found myself being more irritated with them versus wanting them to win. But I still think it's a really good duology, and Chris and Hannah just continues to impress me book after book. I've read 9 of her books now. Okay, the next book that I got was How to Read a Book, and this is by Monica Wood. I did not know what to expect with this book, but the reason why I bought it was because I think I saw 1 or 2 good reviews, not many reviews about this book, but while I was in a bookstore in Portland, Maine, the bookseller was like, oh my gosh, because I was looking at this area that was like books set in Portland, and the bookseller said, you know, this book was so good, and it's actually, they talk about this bookstore in the book. So I was like, oh, what the hell, I'll just get it. And it's seriously one of my favorite books of the year so far. I was so impressed. If you like Emily Austen's writing, like the book Is This a Cry for Help, Everyone You Know Will Someday Be Dead, you know, all those things, or Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, that type of witty writing. If you like found family, a character-driven story, definitely pick up this book. There's so many characters that are so layered in this, and I just really enjoyed being in this world with them, and it's so full of heart, and it's just, I loved it. So yeah, this was an easy 5 stars for me. But this one is about, you're following 3 people. One of them, she just got out of prison. One woman is a retired English teacher who runs like a book club at the women's prison. And then another person you're following, his wife passed away, and has like a complicated history with his kids. And anyway, so all their lives kind of intertwine, and you just follow their story. And it's just really beautiful, and I can't recommend this book enough. So yeah, definitely pick it up. Okay, so I also got If It Makes You Happy, and this is by Julia Olivia. Oh yeah, by the way, all these books I have not read. Just want to say that. Those 2 books I have, but the other ones I have not. Or all these I have not. So I bought this one on my birthday, also in Portland. We went back because I loved the town so much. But this one was at a romance-only bookstore, and I'll put all the bookstores, if I got it from like somewhere local, down below. That way y'all can look them up. I think it was called Grumpy Sunshine or something. It was very cute. It was a new store in Portland, but it's, yeah, romance only. But this, when I saw this, I was like, you're coming home with me. Everyone liked this book last year. It was giving 90s Gilmore Girl vibes, and I'm definitely reading it this October, November. It just seems really cute. I kind of don't want to know. I think with like romance books, I don't really want to know too much about them because they can be a little predictable. So yeah, but I did get this one. And then also one of my other favorite books of the year so far has been The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brommer. And so I got her new book, Good Joy, Bad Joy. As soon as this one came out, I ran to Barnes & Noble and I was like, I gotta read this book. I have to have it, and I'm really excited to read it. I don't know when I'm gonna read it. I've seen like mixed reviews about it. So Emily Austen is like an auto by author for me. Like I mentioned it earlier, that's the How to Read a Book kind of reminded me a little bit of like the wittiness, but like this book, Mickey Brommer though, definitely that type of characterization and the way that she talks, the dry humor is definitely evident in The Collected Regrets of Clover. So I'm hoping that it's in this book too. Also explores like what it means to be alive, what it is to live, to take chances. And you're following a woman as, you know, she's always been like good, and she's like, what if like I want to say no to things or whatever. So anyways, I'm excited to read it. I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but I bought it because I just needed it on my shelf for whenever I felt like reading it. Okay, and then Barnes & Noble was having I think that's when I bought that book too, actually. No. So Barnes & Noble was having a sale, and it was like, I don't know if it was all their hardcovers, but there was like a hardcover fiction sale. And I saw this one, and that is To Cage a Wild Bird, and this is by Brooke Fast, and there's some sprayed edges, and since it was half off, I was like, what the heck, you know, I'll just get it. And I have seen mixed reviews about this one, but I don't care. The book itself sounds so good. I have been really liking dystopian, dark fantasy, dark romantasy, and this one is there is a law in this dystopian universe and reality that if you commit a crime, your punishment is a life sentence at Inlock. So I think our main character, her sibling goes to prison, and so she has to commit a crime to get sentenced to the same prison to protect them. And then while she gets trapped basically into this prison and this life sentence, there is, I don't know if it's televised or what, kind of like a Hunger Games situation, but she has to, there's a prison guard that she kind of like starts to, I don't know, fall for or whatever, and I don't know if there's an uprising, something like that goes on in this book. I don't want to know too much more about it. I think the premise of this sounds so interesting and good, and I really want to get to it. I don't know when the next one's coming out. I don't know if it's a duology or trilogy. I have no idea. And that's the problem with me in fantasy books, is that like I love fantasy books, but I hate when there's like a fantasy book that's like 10 books long and they just start coming out. I'm like, can I just have all of them at once? Because then I get like anxious and then I forget what happens, right? So I don't know when I'm going to get to this one, but the premise alone just sounds so interesting. And all right, and then we have Life and Death and Giants. I don't know when I bought this. I'm not sure when I got this actually. But what I do know is that this book was on like a bunch of best of books from last year. I want to say it was also a book that was a Goodreads Choice Award. And then Brady Lockerbie, I love her page and her channel, but she read it and really enjoyed it. It's a contemporary fiction, and it's about this boy who's born and he's a giant. Also is like living in an Amish community. So it's, the book I believe is told through other people talking about him and sharing their stories about this boy. So I'm interested. I think it's a very interesting writing format, and I want to see what I think about it. Also, you guys, my throat, I don't know what happened. I don't feel bad. It's just my throat just does not feel good. And I can tell I'm hopefully not getting sick, but I can feel like I might be getting sick. So you'll have to excuse my voice. Okay, and then I bought this recently. So I got The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand and her daughter Shelby Cunningham. This book came out last year. This is going to be, I think, the first in a series. And, you know, Ellen Hildebrand is kind of stepping away from writing about Nantucket, which is so sad because I like her books. And, but I'm excited to see where this new chapter goes and, you know, where her writing takes her. But this one is going to be a little bit more about I believe a college student and her time there. Now I did get this, this one is autographed because I bought it while I was in Nantucket a couple weeks ago at a local bookstore that Ellen frequents a lot called Mitchell's. And if you've been to Mitchell's, if you've been in Nantucket, it's like the bookstore. So every time I go, I have to buy an Ellen book, and I want it to be autographed, obviously. So yeah, this one is just about a girl and I think like a cast of characters and friends at a boarding school or a prestigious university. And after, you know, off campus and things like that, I really need something like that around the August, September time. I know I'm gonna want to reach for it. Okay, now I also, while I was in Nantucket, got this book, and that is The Island. This is also an autographed copy. I've read 9 Ellen Hildebrand books so far, and this is one of the ones I have not read yet, so I got this one. I don't really know what this one is about too much. I don't think this takes place technically on Nantucket. I think it takes place off of it's off the coast of Nantucket. I think it's a smaller island called Tuckernut, about a family that's coming together during the summertime, and there is drama that unfolds and issues that arise. And I just really like Ellen Hildebrand's writing. It's very easy to get into. It's definitely a good summer read, so I'm hoping I'll get to it either, you know, probably next month or September-ish, because I do have the next book I talk about, I'll show you guys, but I plan on reading that sooner. So I guess that's a good segue. The next book is Swan Song. This is the other book that I bought, or the last book that I bought in Nantucket. This one unfortunately is not signed, but I knew I wanted to read it this month in July, so I went ahead and bought it. This one takes place, this is her last Nantucket novel. And so we're seeing a bunch of different people that we've seen in other books, other little Easter eggs and things like that. But this one is, you know, going to be, there's like a last summer bash happening in this book. The chief of police, he is retiring, and there is a really wealthy family whose house burns to the ground, and it just drama ensues. So in Ellen Hildebrand fashion, we're going to most likely follow a bunch of cast of characters from the town, some that we've probably seen before and some brand new people, and then we're going to see everything at the end tie up perfectly, and it's going to be a great story. So yeah, this is going to definitely be a great summer read. I'm going to probably read this one next after I finish the book I'm currently reading. Oh, and then while I'm over here, I also bought this the other day. This was like a random buy, but to show you guys, I bought Strangers by Belle Burden. I got this whenever I was in the line at TJ Maxx. They had a really good book selection. But yeah, I got this one for $14.99, but I've heard great things about this book. It's also, I like books that are messy, you know? If it's gonna be a like contemporary domestic kind of fictional book, actually this is a memoir if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a memoir. So it's about a woman who's reconciling with her marriage. She's trying to like piece together, like, I think we've all been through this, like with relationships where you kind of start to digest it and you're like, what exactly happened? When was the beginning of the end? Like, what were the telltale signs? Like, so that's what she's doing in this book, is kind of talking about all the red flags and all the things that she should have, I guess, seen coming, or with her marriage. So she's coming to peace, and it just sounds like it's very interesting. So definitely want to read that. Also, when I was in Portland, I got this one at LongFellows. It's the same bookstore that I bought the How to Read a Book, and that was Calabasas. So I bought this like on my birthday whenever we went back. And the reason why I bought this book, because I was going to get it in paperback, but I saw this edition. And this is the limited edition sprayed edge edition that I didn't get while I saw it at Target. And I regretted it because I love R.F. Kuang's writing. Even though I've read 2 books by R.F. Kuang that I really liked, I'm not gonna lie, she still intimidates me because she is like a genius, a lyrical genius, and just a genius. And her books are they are still intimidating to me. So I'll have to be in the right headspace for it. This one's going to be academia, of course, because it's R.F. Kuang. It's going to be fantastical, and it's going to have a lot of commentary in it, true R.F. Kuang fashion. But her new book, I believe it's called Taipei, I think that's what it's called, but that one comes out soon. So I want to read this one this fall. And this one is inspired by Dante's Inferno, which was a book that while I was in college a long time ago, 10 years ago, that was a book that I studied in one of my Fountains of Literature classes, and I really enjoyed like dissecting that book, and I almost want to like go and read through my cliff notes again of that book and then dive into this one to really immerse myself into it. But it's about a she is a student, and her lab partner or one of her pupils, they have to go into hell to rescue their professor. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, again, good commentary in it. And yeah, so this one will be read this fall. All right, now what else did I buy? Also at LongFellows, so I bought like 5 or 6 books that weekend. Anyways, but I bought The Bones Beneath My Skin, and this is by TJ Klune. But I have read, earlier this year, I read The House in the Cerulean Sea, and then Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. And I just needed another TJ Klune book on my physical TBR because I really enjoy the writing. I just love the found family aspect, being with these characters. So this book was technically released last year. This is a re-release with a new cover on it, because I want to say when did TJ Klune actually, let's look, because I'm curious. 2018. Okay, yeah, so this was released in 2018, but now it has a new cover, and like the spines are all gonna match. But this one is taking place in the 90s, and so we're following Nate Cartwright, and he's lost everything, and so he also got fired from his job, and he's just like, what the heck? So he has nowhere else to go, so he is going back to his family's vacation home in Oregon. And once he gets to the cabin, he gets there, and there's people there, and of course it's going to be in true TJ Klune fashion. It is, you know, there's of a cast of characters inside the cabin that are all silly and witty and full of life, and so I don't know where the story's gonna go from there, but I can't wait to read this book. There's also like a few other books that I have my eye on by TJ Klune that I need to dive into, so you know, I think this is gonna be a great book when I want something that it feels like a warm hug. So that's this one, The Bones Beneath My Skin. All right, and then so I did mention that I was kind of in a fantasy book or fantasy mood. Well, as much as when I bought Calabasas, that's a standalone. I love fantasy, but sometimes I just want to stand alone. I don't want to have a long laundry list of books to read. I just want to immerse myself. So around my birthday, Nick and I were at Target, and we're in the book section, and I saw this one. I was like, oh my god, I love that cover. And then I started to read the synopsis of it, and it takes place off the coast of Maine. And I think we got this like the week before we went for my birthday. And I told Nick, I was like, oh my god, dark academia, haunted vibes, dark fantasy. And I told Nick, I was like, this one has a really awesome cover, and it takes place off the coast of Maine. He was like, well, then you have to get it, obviously, duh, hello. I think there's like a professor-student situationship. I'm not really sure here, but it's really long, so I don't know when I'm gonna get to this one, but I have it on my more like immediate TBR because I have been wanting to read a fantasy dark fantasy standalone. But yeah, so that's this one. That's Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. Recently I read a duology on my Kindle called Crown Me Dead, and I really enjoyed that fantasy book. It was so good. And on Storygraph, there's like a feature where it's like, show me other titles like this or whatever. So it told me about The Ever King. I've never heard of this. I've never seen any reviews, nothing, but the synopsis alone sounds so good. I believe this is a 4-book series, and I thought it'd be perfect for summertime when I want a fantasy, because there's like a mermaid sea situation aspect. I don't really know. So I don't know. The reviews sounded good. From Storygraph. I have not heard any other reviews like on TikTok or anything else, but the synopsis sounded interesting. The vibes were high. It was just calling me, so I got this one. If you've read it and enjoyed it, tell me your thoughts below. And if you have read it and you didn't like it, maybe don't tell me, because I still want to read it and I don't want to get discouraged. Then I also, around my birthday, got the Someday Garden. This one I got at Print in Portland, Maine, and it is a signed copy. I really have liked a couple of books from Ashley Poston. Not every single of The Dead Romantics. That was my favorite. But this one sounded really cute. And and it is signed. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. I think I got this at Sherman's. That's where it is. Sorry, Sherman's Bookstore. But yeah, this one's a signed edition, but I got it because when I was reading the back of it, I was like, oh, hello. So she goes to the coast of Maine, that's where I was. So I was like, hello, I have to get this, for the summer. And so she is going to revitalize a house. And this house has an enchanted garden, and I'm sure somebody comes out of the garden that she meets. Every single Ashley Poston book is going to have a speculative, magical element that is just going to be so cute and fun, and I just really like her writing. So I thought this would be a really cute one also for the summertime. And also, this makes no sense, or not, this makes sense, but this is like neither here nor there, but I love how all of Ashley Poston's books like feel like matted. That's just like a sensory thing, but anyways, whatever. Okay, so recently, so all three of these books have like a similar thing. Recently I read Pachinko, which is actually right there, and I love that book. It might be one of like my top favorite books of, I don't know, like the year of my life. I'm not really sure, but I was just loving it so much. So I actually asked my chat GPT to recommend me books that, because I liked Pachinko, and it gave me a bunch of really great options, like The Covenant of Water, Demon Copperhead. Yeah, that one. I did order that one actually off Pango, so I should be getting that one. That's not part of the haul, but I do have it coming. And there were some other ones that it did recommend, but so it did recommend these other three that I went ahead and bought because these are a little bit shorter, and I have a lot of like long books on my TBR right now. So once I get through those, then I will pick those epics up. But I got Clara and the Sun, and this is by Kazuo Ishiguro. This book is actually going to be made into a movie soon, starring Jenna Ortega, who I love, hence my Wednesday stuff right there. Actually, I don't know if you can really see, but I've got two little pendants. Anywho, but this book is a commentary about AI. We're following Clara, who is a AI service robot. She is working, I believe it's like in a department store, and you're kind of like in her head as she's interacting with humans and learning about humans during her interactions. So it's going to be interesting to learn more about how we are perceived through AI. And it's going to talk about, I guess, the effects of AI, which I think is such an important topic right now. And I just can't wait to read this one. I think it's going to be so good, and it's definitely a shorty, but it's going to pack a punch. And I know a lot of people really enjoyed that book. So, also by Kazuo Ishiguro, I got Never Let Me Go. This book is won a Nobel Prize in Literature, and I don't really know too much of what this book is about. I believe you're following a few people as they look into their shared past, and I've heard a lot of people say that this is like one of their favorite books ever. So yeah, no pressure or anything, but this book sounds very, very good. I definitely have to be in the right headspace. For whatever reason, this one is a little intimidating. I don't know why, but I definitely want to read this one before the end of the year. Okay, and then I got Beast of a Little Land. So this is probably one of the most gorgeous covers ever. I love this cover so much. I've never heard of this book up until my chat GPT recommended me over. You know what's actually hilarious? Sidebar. I asked chat GPT to recommend me books, and then it recommended me Clara and the Sun, which is about AI. The irony is not lost on me, fam. Okay, I promise it's not. Anyway, sorry, I'm a little slower today, you guys. I'm feeling it. I'm starting to feel it. Anywho, so with Pachinko, that book was about Japan occupied Korea, and you're following, it's like an epic, you're following 4 generations. It's not doing multiple timelines. It's a very linear timeline book. So we're starting with great-great-grandpa and we're ending with, you know, great-great-grandkids, right? And you're following the family dynamics, the history, the politics, everything. I thought was so interesting. It's also not a part of history that like I've really known too much about. So it was interesting to read about that piece of history, but also it kind of talks about like the Vietnam War and, you know, the oppression that Koreans face by the Japanese during that time. It also talked about, you know, the split between North Korea and South Korea. Anyway, so because it was a book that I wanted to know more about, that's why chat recommended me this book right here, because I wanted to read more about it. And so this book is, you're around the same time, because that one also starts in the early 1900s, so starts in 1917. It's deep in the snowy mountains of occupied Korea. It's an impoverished local hunter on the brink of starvation saves a young Japanese officer from a tiger attack, instantly connecting their fates in a saga that spans half a century. So during that time, like, people that were Japanese looked down on people that were born in Korea, or Koreans, during that time. And so the fact that he saved the Japanese soldier, you know, I already can see how the dynamic of that is. And then it says, in the aftermath, a young girl named Jade is sold to Madame Silver's courtesan school, cementing her place in the lowest social status, where she befriends Jung Ho, an orphan who begs on the streets of Seoul. And as they come of age, Jung Ho is swept up in the revolutionary fight for independence, and Jade becomes a sought-after performer with a new romantic prospect of noble birth. So it just sounds so good, and with a cover like this, it better be banging. So anyway, that's all I gotta say about it. I have to get into my book of the month box. So this is my book of the month box for June. Again, I did not get my box for this month. I might skip it. I got 3 books because it was my birthday, so I technically got a free pick since I'm a BFF with book of the month. And I did pay for an extra one, and then one came with my membership. So anyway, that's why I got 3. But so I got The Misconnection by Tia Williams. I love Tia Williams. She is the author of 7 Days in June and A Love Song for Ricky Wilde, and this is her newest book. One of them, A Love Song for Ricky Wilde, that one had like a bit of a magical, like speculative type of element to it, so I'm not sure what this one's going to be about. But it says, woman searching for her handsome seatmate from a European flight and the unexpected places her hunt for love leads her. Ooh, I love a love story about, like, you meet someone on a plane. Like, where are you both going? Your paths crossed. That is just so, like, I love that. So serendipitous. So she hires a detective that she knew in another lifetime who complicates matters in unforeseen and irresistible ways. Okay, that's really interesting. So I wonder if this one is going to have some kind of speculative element to it. I don't know. But if I know Tia Williams, I know it's going to absolutely pack a punch, and it's going to be an emotional roller coaster, just beautifully written story. And this cover is absolutely freaking gorgeous. So, and like, look at this. Like, are you serious? Anyway. All right, and then I also picked up Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. This one I have been seeing everywhere. I have seen so many great reviews about this book, but it's about a girl who's, I think, 30 or maybe mid-30s, but she has not lost her virginity, and she wants to lose her virginity before she goes on a date, or maybe it's before her 30th birthday, something like that. So she's learning about herself, and that's really it. It seems like it's gonna be a cute book. So also another pink cover. If there's pink on the cover, I mean, I'll probably like it. But and then this is another book that I got, and this one was on the Goodreads Choice Awards last year, and I've heard nothing but good things about this book, and that is Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. This one is about a couple. I want to say that they are divorcing, or there is some kind of infidelity situation happening, but I love a messy book. I love a character-driven novel, and so that's what this book sounds like it's going to give. So I have to read it. Yeah, so those are my June picks. And let's go ahead. So I did get some books recently I got so many Barnes & Noble gift cards for my birthday, you guys. I got like $200 in Barnes & Noble gift cards. So I have bought a few things, and I'm about to show you. Okay, this is something I bought at Barnes & Noble the other day. It is not a book, but it goes with my vibe. And that is the Rocking Plants. They're Lego. These are so stinking cute. I actually have next to my desk these little guys. These are like the other, this is like the first edition of the Rocking Plants, or not the Rocking Plants. These are just like the little cute plants. Happy Plants, that's what they're called. That guy, and then this one. They just bring me so much joy. Yeah,
so cute!
Anyhow, so when I saw it at Barnes & Noble for $22 with my 10% off, and I had a gift card, I was like, you're coming home with me. Die around. So I have, like I said, I have been really in a fantasy mood here recently. The second one, I believe, is coming out soon. She's in poverty. Her family is really struggling, and the elite in this like realm, they live very lavishly, and so she hates them. She hates the elite because, like, look how they live. It's very much an oligarchy or something. I don't really know. Patriarchy. I can definitely understand that. And so her little sister gets kidnapped and stolen across the border by an immortal monster her country has spent centuries fighting. And so her whole world falls apart after that. And so our girl enlists in the army and is thrown into the deadly bonding trials where any mistake will cost her her life. So she's basically trying to save her sister. And so she is training at the castle so that she can get in the army and go find her sister and fight these things that kidnapped her sister. But she is bound to a feral direwolf who refuses to communicate. And so yeah, it's a competition. There's a quest. She needs to save her sister. You know, there's going to probably be a lot of political commentary in it for this time, and it just sounded really good. I'm not kidding you guys, for the past like 6 months, I have walked past this fantasy table and I've seen this book and I'm like, something about this book is speaking to me, but it's so thick. I was like, I don't know if I want to read that right now, because the next book I really need to read that is a fantasy book is Crescent City, because I have not read it. That's my Sarah J. Maas thing up there, and the new books are coming out and I'm like, I have to read Crescent City, obviously. So that's gonna be next as far as like giant big books that I'm reading right now. But this one has been calling my name, you guys. Put it down below if I need to read it. Please bully me in the comments to read this book, because I might give in and do it. All right. And plus the cover is just like gorgeous. And then look at the next one that's coming out. Are you serious? Are we serious? All right. Also for speaking, and so I got this one the other day with this one because they were both on the BOGO table, buy one get one half off, and that is The Night in the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I read One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns last year, and I really enjoyed that book. And this is going to be a trilogy, I believe. So The Knave and the Moon, I believe, is the next one. That one's coming out this year. So I think once that one comes out, I will read this book before, so that way I can read them back to back. But I love this new edition. This is the paperback, and I love that they shrink wrapped it too. You know what I mean? That way, like, they don't get all messed up. But this is just so gorgeous and beautiful. So I was like, I have to read this one. But I've heard a lot of really good reviews about it. So it's about a diviner, and it's a gothic romantasy, hence Rachel Gillig. That's what she likes to write, and I eat that shit up. I love gothic romantasies, dark fantasy romantasies. Oh, chef's kiss, okay? So we're following our girl Sybil. She's a diviner, and in her dreams, she receives visions from 6 unearthly figures known as the Omens, okay? So the lords and the common folk alike travel across stone water kingdoms, windswept moors, and craggy mountains to learn their futures by her dreams. Anytime I hear moors now, I think of Wuthering Heights. That's the vibe we want right now, okay? So just as she and her sister diviners near the end of their 10 years of service, a mysterious knight arrives at the cathedral. He's rude, and he's devilishly handsome, of course. And the knight Roderick has no respect for Sybil's visions. So then the other diviners start to vanish one by one. So she has to work with him to find them. Sounds like a good time. Sounds like a really good time. Maybe not for Sybil, but it is for us. So I'm really excited about this one. But again, I'm going to wait until the next one comes out so that I can read them close together. That's what kind of got me with Two Twisted Crowns. I didn't do that. And then I kind of like forgot what happened. You know what I mean? So anyway, then last two books, I swear. I got The Last Twilight in Paris, and this one's by Pam Jenoff. This book is a World War II historical fiction, and there's so many of those books out there, and they're all very important. They're all stories that need to be told. But from what I've heard about this one, it talks about, because everyone knows like Auschwitz and some of these bigger concentration camps and horrible Nazi prisons, but there was actually one that was within, I think it was in London or in Paris. It was a once glamorous high-end department store. And so this one is a historical fiction about that department store and what I guess went on there. And there's like an artifact that someone found. And anyways, it just sounds like it's going to be a really good story. And I have been really excited to read this one ever since I've heard so many good reviews about it. Okay, so the last book I promised that I brought, and that is 1,000 Splendid Suns. So remember when I was telling you how my Chat GPT recommended me some books to read? Okay, so Chat recommended me this book and The Kite Runner, and I have not read either one of those books before. I know like everybody knows about The Kite Runner, but this one, it talks about Taliban controlled Afghanistan, and I think you follow characters in like a 30-year span. So yeah, from the Soviet invasion to the reign of the Taliban to post-Taliban rebuilding, puts the violence, fear, hope, and faith of the country in intimate human terms. It's a story of two generations of characters brought jarringly together by the tragic sweep of war, where personal lives and the struggle to survive, raise a family, and find happiness. Yeah, so I don't know. I love stories that, again, are more character driven. There are stories that you are following multi-generations of family, like a family saga. I love that type of story. And knowing more also about other parts of the world that I'm never going to go to Afghanistan, okay? I don't want to. But I want to know more about other parts of the world that I have not been to, don't know much about. I want to know more about their politics, because we all end up mixing together at some point. So I think it's important to know and understand how other people's struggles and the history of other places. So that's why, and a big reason why also I was kind of drawn to this book. But I got this one the other day. So anyways, I'll let y'all know how it goes. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is gonna be a long video. I already can tell it's gonna be like at least 30 minutes. So if you are here towards the end of this video, thank you so much. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I would love to have you here again. Please let me know down below if I need to prioritize any of these books. If you've read any of these books, spoiler-free comments, please. And let me know, which ones that you've read that you've enjoyed, or any recommendations based off what I like. Yeah, please remember to take care of yourself, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!